Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who almost didn't make it to the Pusha T concert at the Water Street Music Hall in Rochester, New York on September 16th. But I did go. The reasons I didn't go, there are many. If you've watched this show, you know that I have a pretty spotty history with rap concerts. I have seen some of the greatest rappers of all time perform absolutely terribly. Like I'm happy that I saw them because I can say that I saw Jay-Z at Summer Jam '99. I can say that I saw the Wu-Tang Clan. I can say that I saw DMX. But my memory, if I'm being honest, just wasn't that great. Just large amounts of people on the stage waving towels around and screaming the last line of a lyric, basically just rapping over a CD. Just the history's been kind of rough. So even though hip-hop is probably my favorite genre of music, and it's what I cover the most on this channel, when it comes to seeing a concert, I always get this kind of sense of dread. Like, is this just going to be as bad as Jay-Z was all the way back in '99? So, I love Pusha T. Realistically, he's in my probably top 15 of rappers. I really like his style, I like his flow, I like his personality. I don't like what he raps about that much, so that's why he's probably not higher up there. But, when I was getting ready for this show, I've got a new baby. You might hear her cry every once in a while upstairs. There was no opener. It said Phase 2. So I've been studying a lot about the early days of hip-hop, and if you're a real head, Phase 2 was one of the most important graffiti artists of the 70s and 80s. So part of me had this weird little fantasy that Pusha T was going to bring out Phase 2 and it's going to be like, whoa! But that didn't happen. It's just Phase 2 of his tour. But my birthday was a couple days ago, and my wife is just overburdened with stuff to do with a new baby. So I said, what would be a good gift? Get me and the kids, because I also have 2 teenagers, get us tickets to see Pusha T. Why not? It's 3 days away from my birthday. How often do good acts come to Rochester, New York? Not often. If you like classical music, this is your city. If you like hip-hop or rock, it's a little bit rough. We're far away from the heyday when David Bowie came here and got arrested for coke, ironically. So we decided to go, and I was getting excited. I've been listening to It's Almost Dry a lot more this week with my family. It's such a good album. I knew it was good. My review of that album is very positive, but it's better than I remember on re-listening. So, we go and we park in Rochester, which has a lot of names. I like calling it Scuff City, Minor League City. I don't know, like it's the kind of city where you can go see a concert downtown and get parking, right? So we go and we get in line. I'm a little bit spooked by the line. It's kind of a douchey line. Like everyone around us is kind of douchey. They're okay, but lots of Griselda gear, which is kind of funny. They almost didn't let my kids into the show twice. Like twice we got carded. So I have a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old. And it really seemed like they were going to turn us away. But they let us in, and it's really funny because, we go in, and it's basically my kid. They've been to a lot of shows. We went to see My Chemical Romance just 2 weeks ago. And they've been to a lot of shows, but they've never really had this kind of access where you walk into the show and you can just walk right up to the stage. So immediately they go like 2 feet from the stage and like, we're not moving. We're just staying here. I don't care. If I have to go to the bathroom, I'm going to be this close to Pusha T. I'm like, all right, I don't think you really need to worry about it, but whatever. The music is playing. There's like a ton of Griselda being, like on the, Griselda and J Electronica and a whole bunch of good hip hop. It's kind of nice. Like my kids were able to be like, I recognize that as well. I recognize that as well. Because we listen to so much new rap music in this house. And then I go and I do my tradition. Every time I go to a concert with my family, I get a Sprite. It's the only time I drink Sprite is at a concert. So I go and I walk around. And when I was in line, someone mentioned there's going to be an opener. And I thought I heard it as IDK. I'm like, IDK? That's not nobody. You don't not promote IDK. I reviewed See For Yourself. What's it called? Come See For Yourself? I forget the name of the album, but I liked it quite a bit a couple of years ago. IDK is a very good, young, talented rapper. He does a lot of what Pusha T is able to do, of sort of like being kind of real and outrageous while at the same time being like sort of like, good for the smarts and for the streets, that kind of guy. So, I go and the merch guy for IDK is like in this other room, and I go up and talk to him, and I'm like, I'm really psyched he's here. And you could tell the guy was happy because I guess they just asked him to come 2 weeks ago. So, it was kind of this weird thing where, like, I would have tried to go see IDK in concert if he played on his own. But I missed his last album, so there you go. I missed his last EP. Tidal doesn't tell me, like, what to listen to anymore. I don't know. I don't know why, but I didn't even see that he released something new. And, I listened to it today, and it's like mostly produced by Kate Aranda, so that's interesting. It's a well-made, good step forward. So if you're not familiar, first of all, if you're not familiar with IDK's body of work, you should really check it out, especially if you're a fan of my channel, because his style is like exactly the kind of style of hip-hop that I like and that my fans like. So we're sitting there and we're waiting. We're waiting quite a long time. The crowd kind of filters in. I'll talk more about the crowd in a little bit. And then IDK goes on. And IDK is a really, really good opener. Because you have to have a certain amount of, like, humility, maybe even insecurity to be a good opener. Because it's weird, because no one's there to see you, but you also have to do your best. And the thing is, like, when you're in a room full of hip-hop heads, you gotta do what he did, which is just rap. He would just, there wasn't a lot of CD behind his music. There wasn't any double voicing. He was just spitting his verses. Great crowd control. I say ID, you say K, IDK, IDK. He had a very funny joke too, where he goes to some guy in the audience, "Look, Mike Dean's here," and the guy was like, oh. He did look like Mike Dean. It's pretty funny. So he kind of has this sort of like old school talent, which I don't mean to sound like a 45-year-old dude reviewing a rap concert, which I am, but you don't see a lot of old school rap guys. A lot of young guys going up there and just being able to just rap. He's able to rap fast, rap slow, sing, do everything. He really does it all. It's funny because when I listen, I re-listened to his albums this morning, they don't actually say like live banger. His music is very introspective and at times sort of synth heavy as opposed to sort of like, funk or trap or anything like that. So he managed to have a live show that was very engaging and not at all like his albums, which is really quite cool. He played my favorite song of his, 1945, and he made it into a sort of participatory banger as opposed to the sort of deep meditation on his own life. And also too, just, he just had like a sweatshirt and a hat. It was like no big show. Just like a dude. He didn't have 5 guys behind him waving towels. It sounds like I'm complaining. You don't understand what rap shows used to be like. Like at the turn of the century, you had to have like 7 dudes on the stage waving towels around. Who wants to see some guy waving a towel around just screaming the last line of every lyric? I don't know. But rap artists seem to think that's what they wanted back in the 90s. So then we get to Pusha T. Now, I'm going to sort of divide Pusha T into sort of like his performance and the video and everything. First of all, if this isn't clear, this was a great show. It's a really great show. I'm very happy I went. If you look behind, you see the t-shirt. I'll talk about the merch at the end. This is the first show on this leg. So if you live in Richmond or Montclair, New Jersey, or Dallas, or Phoenix, or Queens, or Pittsburgh, go see Pusha T with IDK. It's really a very good rap show. And part of the reason, and this is the thing, like, I didn't care about being up close. I'm 45 years old. What do I care about being up close? It's my birthday a couple days ago. I have to remember how old I am. But it really does matter. Because Pusha T, like, he really is that guy. Like, he is able to project that lead singer, that rap performance, like, his command over the audience is just complete. He has that confidence, that coolness, and like being that close, it's awesome. It's a really awesome thing. And I think part of what makes Pusha T so interesting, and I've been working on this theory, but his music projects cruelty on such a deep level, because he's all about dealing crack and selling crack, which is primarily destroying his own community, hurting people who have less than him, this Reaganite dream of dog eat dog and you have to be the top dog or else you get eaten by the other dog. The kind of cruelty that he raps about is insane. but he projects kindness. He projects kindness and wisdom. Have you ever seen an interview with Pusha T? He just seems just like a totally cool guy who knows what he's doing. He seems confident. He seems happy. And I have never, in my life of seeing concerts, seeing hundreds of concerts, have I ever seen anyone that thankful for an audience. He like stopped on multiple occasions just to say like, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank each, like it really means a lot to me that you're here, that you've been with me. Like a real sense of appreciation, which is like, I just want to say I really appreciate everything that you did, and I'm so thankful for everything. Now I want to rap about smuggling cocaine in your sister's butthole while selling crack to your mom. Can I do that? And I want to thank you while I do that. That's the Pusha T conundrum. Because as you can tell, I think a lot about my age around my birthday. It's funny because we're the same age. And the guy from My Chemical Romance, Gerard Way, is the same age as well. During that show, my son said, "Do you think you could do this?" And, you know, the same question, like, do I think I could do this? And the funny thing is, I started the morning. I teach back-to-back, 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. And the way I teach is just ridiculously energetic. Like, I'm walking around, I'm jumping, I'm talking, I'm just totally engaged, right? So, like, by the time I'm done with those 2 hours, I am just done. I am just done. Then I have to do a whole bunch of bureaucratic stuff and grading and all that, right? I work more than 40 hours a week, but my actual, like, teaching time is, like, just the 2 hours, you know, in the morning. It's funny because, like, our days were opposite, because here is a guy who's my age, a family guy my age, trying to make a living for his family, and he's just sitting there, and you could tell, like, he is a totally great performer, and there's no part of me that's putting him down. But you could tell, like, he really needed those water breaks. And, like, they put the set list on the floor, and he had a little bit of time looking at it. And I hate to be the harbinger of Christmas future, but, like, when you turn, like, 41, 42, all of a sudden your eyes are just like, nope. So I just cannot tell you how much I related to that. Because the whole crowd was amazing. Like, I thought it was going to be dudes like me. I thought it was all going to be like dudes in their 40s, white dudes in their 40s. The crowd was like 50-50 white and black, which for a rap show is insane. It's usually 3/4 white, if not 9/10 white, right? Which is partly just because the graphics of the country, and partly just because whatever's happened. I'm not here to talk about that. But the crowd was really young. It was like mostly college-age kids. And so, you know, so here I was, a 45-year-old dude, jumping up and down, trying to make my living for a bunch of college kids, and then 12 hours later, there's Pusha T doing the same thing. It is a funny thing, because he still raps about selling crack, and he's developed, he's nuanced, he raps about other stuff too. And like Jay-Z, it mostly serves as a metaphor now, as opposed to an actual storytelling thing. But it's just funny, because it makes me realize, like what if I still tell the same stories about, like, when I lived in France in 1999 and 2002, you know? Like I still tell these stories. Like, I'm still kind of doing the same thing, you know? Like, I'm taking my life experience that led me to this point in my life, and then I'm using that for my living. I don't know. My son called me the Pusha T of YouTube reviewers, which I thought was quite kind. Now, the big question that comes to me whenever there's a hip-hop performance is, like, how much of it is just going to be rapping over a CD? And I'm happy to say some, not all. So they mixed it so that sometimes Pusha T's voice from the CD was on there and sometimes it wasn't. The tricky thing is that he's got great voice control when he raps. You know, like he's able to do, like, on the Call My Bluff, like the kind of slick Rick talking. He's able to get kind of like a mean tone. And in a concert, realistically, with that much noise, that much bass, that much tiredness, you know, you're not going to be able to have that kind of precision of voice control. So, you know, sometimes the CD would not have the voice and you just hear him going. And the voice should have been louder in the mix, but it was good, and it's just very clear that, like, he is giving it all. There's no part of him that's just dialing it in. Unlike when I saw the Wu-Tang Clan 12 years ago. It did feel like they were dialing it in. Even Capadonna. Apparently Capadonna, who, by the way, I think Capadonna has the best verses from the Wu-Tang Clan. Like he's the Conway of the Wu-Tang Clan, if you ask me. That's how much I like Capadonna. But he was going through the crowd, the ticket line, selling tickets to the show, trying to get around the promoter. That was the state that Wu-Tang was in 2010. But Pusha T is putting it all out there, and I also like there's just one DJ for both of the acts, for IDK and him, and he was great. Like, he would jump in when he needed to, but he was in the back. He'd help the crowd, sort of moving away from the way it used to be with the whole posse. It's a lot more of an intimate, a lot more of an artistic feeling moment. A couple things I like about sound effects. I love that the weird laugh was used all over the place. The one thing I didn't like is that they did a lot of like guest verses. So they would take a song where Push had a guest verse, and then they would just cut out the rest, and then it would end with just a boom. It is kind of cheesy. Maybe just have other signs. Like, what? Just go to the... The video behind him was interesting. It was sort of like misery porn, but it was misery porn of the drug trade. It was like drug mummies, which whenever Pusha T talks about drug mummies, I just think when you play Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, there's these weird things that go, ah! I always think of that as a drug mummy. But, drug mummies, I think he means, are just addicts walking in the street. I mean, like, really miserable people, like, just walking in the street, like, people doing heroin, people doing crack, pictures of, like, low-income housing, images of 80s drug trafficking. They even had one thing where there was, like, how to make crack, like, the directions for how to make crack were put up, like, add baking soda, boil. Kind of goofy. The neatest one was they had a whole bunch of close-ups of money, including going through the eyes of every eye that's on any piece of currency, paper currency in America. It was very cool, kind of like flashing through all the eyes. I am going to go through the songs, not one by one, but I'm going to do some highlights. I will spend a little more time with the crowd. Everyone knows I like talking about the crowd. That's one of my favorite things to do when I go to a show. There are 3 dudes next to me who are my favorite. They were filming the entire time, and they were rapping along to every single word Pusha T said. And then they would look at each other and be like, and they would say the lines to each other, and then, it's that feeling of like bathing in group love. Bathing in group love. Bathing in group love. I don't know. Bathing in the mutual admiration. I don't know. But the sense of kinship that you feel in a concert when you're with people who love the music as much as you do is really great. Just those 3 dudes were just doing it. Some other people were a little bit less cool. There's a guy who my kids referred to as Buff Andy Warhol, who like kept on getting in their way and like sticking out his hand. It seemed like he didn't even know the words, but he was like sticking his hand out all the time. There was this other guy who was wearing a Star Trek shirt, and he kept on holding up fake bricks of cocaine, trying to get Push's attention. And props on the Star Trek shirt, but like it was kind of like painful. You can tell because my baby's crying. It was kind of painful because like you could tell he like had this idea and he wanted it to work. So the whole time I'm like, I want it to work because like this guy had this goofy idea and he's hoping it works. But then the other part of me doesn't want it to work because he keeps hitting me on the side of the head with his arm as he holds up the fake brick. Anyways, all these things together. My other favorite attendees, there's this like one like very short woman. And during the IDK show, IDK is rapping. And when you're rapping, no one, like if you're the opening act, people aren't going to know you're... I mean, I was wearing a mask anyways, so he couldn't tell if I was rapping along. But at a certain point, he saw that she was rapping every single word of his entire set. And you could feel his spirits go up for this, like, recognition, for being seen. Because, like, IDK is not a household name, but he's a great artist and a great rapper. And he doesn't get the feedback that he needs. And then she and her friend were there, and they were just doing the same thing for every single line through Pusha T. So like totally the most hardcore, real deal fans of that music there were these 2 short women in the front row, which is just cool, because you get the image of some dude like me, right, with a little scorpion West Side Gun hat. Man, she is not psyched about whatever's happening up there. I had a great morning with her, though. I wrote her a lullaby. So here's some ideas song by song. First of all, I looked up the set list beforehand because it's useful. It's kind of a cheat, but if you're going to a show with people who don't know the music particularly well, and my daughter doesn't know Pusha T's music very well, she likes Pusha T but doesn't know his music. So I made a playlist of all the songs that he'd been playing over the last couple months in his shows. And they were largely the same, but they weren't entirely the same. There was a lot of different surprises. It seems as though he always starts off with the song "Let the Smokers Shine the Coupe," which, if you saw my review of his album, that's my least favorite song on the album, but I like it here as an opener. Later, he did "If You Know, You Know" with an opening a cappella, and like when it breaks into that, it's just such an exciting moment. It's just so much fun, and especially with it being a cappella and just his voice. You know, that's the thing you can do in concert that you can't do on the album. The Games We Play, I just vibed out. I mean, The Games We Play is just one of my favorite beats, just period, just hip hop, just whole history of hip hop. Games We Play, produced by Kanye and I forget the other guy. But I was just vibing out. So it's a good thing I'm not more famous, or else it'd be clips of me on YouTube. I looked like a drug mummy. I was dancing like a drug mummy to The Games We Play. And that's how good the Pusha T show was. It turned Professor Sky into a faux drug mummy. I played numbers on the board, which is cool because that's like the first song I ever heard of his as a solo artist, and I loved it. That's where I listened to that before I got back into music, and I was like, oh, this is good. Santeria is my son's favorite song. I didn't expect them to play it, so that was awesome. And then there's Diet Coke. So if you're following me on Instagram, you'll know that I went to Arby's before the Pusha T show because you gotta go and get the fish sandwich because Pusha T, first of all, gets money for the "We Have the Meat" slogan because he got ripped off by McDonald's, because he also wrote the "I'm Lovin' It," which should make him that's a pretty wild, the same guy wrote both those themes. And then he had the diss track against the Filet-O-Fish with the crispy fish sandwich. So I go to Arby's and they don't have it, and I'm talking to the guy at Arby's and he's not interested in me talking about Pusha T. But at the very least, I ordered a Diet Coke. I was hoping. Can I hope? Can I hope that when I'm talking to the guy at Arby's about Pusha T, that he knows something about Pusha T? Is that too much to ask? So he didn't ask me if it was a joke. When I ordered Diet Coke, he didn't ask me if it was a joke. But it's okay. Neck and Wrist was very funny because after the show, my daughter asked me, is he like an emo guy? She thought Neck and Wrist, Don't Lie, was saying like because he was like cutting himself. Because, you know, My Chemical Romance, we just went to that show. So it's very funny to imagine him as that. Now, you may have noticed that I titled this video something very obnoxious. I believe I'm going to title it "Pusha T Sent Me a Direct Message." Now, this is playing on Anthony Fantano's situation with Drake, and of course Drake and Pusha T don't get along, so I thought that'd be funny to take that as a joke. But he did sort of send me a direct message because I'm sitting there and while he's doing this song, he has pictures of himself with his kids up there and his wife. And I just realized that, like, you know, we're totally different experiences. You know, totally, completely different. He's a millionaire rap star. He sold crack in Virginia Beach. And while I was futzing around in Marseille, France with my friends and teaching English in high school and all that, you know? But, like, this kind of feeling I had of just, like, because I was the only dad there, okay? There was no other dads bringing their teenagers there, you know? So, like, seeing this dad with this rap song about being proud to be a dad, like, I felt like in that moment, like, he and we knew what it was. Because we're 45 years old, you know? Tom Brady only gets better with time. Don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just improve the design. Why do you think he talks about Tom Brady so much? Because Tom Brady's our age too, and so is Kanye, you know? It's great growing old with these guys, you know? So, like, that was his direct message, was like, you're doing a good job as a dad. And I looked up to Pusha T, I said, you're doing a good job as a dad. You know, that was our little back and forth. That's our wholesome back and forth. Now, Fantano can eat his vegan cookies, and Drake can just be a weird creep. Just a weird creep. Drake can be a weird creep. Fantano continue to be a great YouTuber. So yeah. And then we get in the song "Call My Bluff." That's the song my family was probably most excited for because we were just singing it all the way. Not every word. Damn it. damn it, rap songs. Why do you always have to have one word we don't sing along to? But still, just a great song, singing along. It was great hearing Grinding, which is my favorite E40 song, because back in the old days, around 2001, 2002, whenever that song came out, I only knew the song through the E40 remix. I didn't even know. I thought it was an E40 song. Dale Earnhardt's limited edition special package. Dreaming of the Past was just amazing. Just what a song. You know, like to have the part where the whole crowd can sing along to the Donny Hathaway cover of the John Lennon song, or the whole part where the I got plenty, or you can rap along with what he's actually saying. You know, in between the songs, he would say, you know, rap album of the year. Easy. And I'm not sure if it's the rap album of the year. I'll tell you in December. But wow, what a great song. I played Runaway, which I wish he didn't do, because I don't want to think of Pusha T as Pharrell's friend. I don't want to think of him as Kanye's friend. I want to think of him as just like this great rapper who sometimes is lucky enough to work with those two guys. So, I want to thank, first of all, my Patreons. Before I talk to you about the merch that's behind me, I made a new Patreon sheet with a new font, Cooper font. So thanks to all these folks for helping me afford the tickets and help me buy merch. I have a new one down there. It's my dad. He joined my Patreon. Thanks, Pa. Pretty funny. How many YouTubers do you know whose dads sponsor them on Patreon? Pretty cool. So thank you to all y'all. Got some new folks on there. You know, some new folks there. Samir, thank you so much. And Don and Rod. A couple other new ones there. And so let's look at the merch. So first of all, you see back there, that's a print for the IDK album. And I really wanted to get something from IDK, mainly because I want to support IDK. And it's just a great print. It's on this really nice, heavy paper. It's limited to 200. I think it was $50. IDK is going to release a masterpiece. Okay? He hasn't done it yet, but he's going to. And when he does, everyone's going to go, oh yeah, I guess we should have seen that coming. So, if you want to get something very cool from a very good artist before he releases his masterpiece, you can get that. Now this right here, this is the tour dates. Pretty cool. And then my biggest regret is that I didn't... So back when they released Daytona, I bought a Pusha T autograph. Like when I bought the album, I also got the autograph. And I could have bought a t-shirt that said, I'm too rare for all this green hair. I think that's the line. And there's another one that said like interstate trafficking's alive. I wish I did. So I didn't make this mistake. I bought this for my daughter. You know who the villain is. Just a great line. And then there's that shirt up there, which my son is worried is going to get him dress coded at school. You know, like you can't wear stuff that promotes drugs. But are they going to be able to tell that those are spoons over that skull? Or might they think that those are, like headphones? And so what if they're bent spoons? You could have a run-in with Yuri Geller. All right. Weird reference. Until next time, tell me. It doesn't matter when you see the show. Have you seen Pusha T in the past? Do you plan to go? Did I help to convince you? Are you banging with IDK yet? Because he's got some really good stuff. Smash the like bucket. Subscribe. All that stuff. You're already here, so do all the nice stuff for me to keep the channel going. All right. Till next time, there's the camera.